Okay, limber. Limber. Make here we have when we look up the etymology. It's to make pliant or supple from limber, unlimbered, related limbered. The military sense attach a limber to a gun. And let's look from that limber. Adjective is pliant, flexible, of uncertain origin, possibly from limb, meaning part of a tree or part of a human body. Also, possibly from limp, meaning like something that can bend. Um, Let me think where something limp, like a paper is limp. It's hard. Um, and the bee came arguably, I think it says around the 15th century, so it used to just be limb, but we added the bee. Not we, but people who made English. Detachable for part of a gun. Okay, so we're not using that noun verb. This basically means an adjective to be flexible, something that can bend, something that's malleable. And it's also to cause it to be flexible. So often we'll use it. Somebody who's dancer or a gymnast or a soccer player will have a limber body. Serious dancers develop limber bodies, and runners limber up before a race. But just like athletes limber up, you'll stretch your arms before a sports game. You'll stretch your legs. Limber up. Synonyms are supple, pliable, flexible. And the verb, the synonym of the verb is to stretch, to warm up. And an antonym would be stiff or wooden. And now, of course, a bow, like a bow, would be limber, but because it's made out of wood, because we associate wood with something that's not flexible, like a pencil, right? You can't stretch a pencil very much, it'll break. Um, and the verb would be to stiffen, the cramp up, which is the antonym, the opposite of limber. So limber means essentially flexible, and it comes arguably from limb of a tree, limb of a body, because those are things, the limbs of a tree or the limb of a body can flex and move. Maize. This is another one with arguable roots. This will have, I think it comes from the word corn, because corn, it grows in rows, and it's you can get kind of lost in it, and often mazes are made out of corn in the West. But delusion, bewilderment, confusion of thought, possibly from Old English mace, which is suggested the compound amazad, amazed, the verb amasan, compared to amaze. So we'll look overwhelmed, confound with sudden surprise, wonder, from stunned, dazzle. But I would say the root comes from the word for corn, from actually like a maze, like a labyrinth. Dialectical mass, exhausting labor, massa, to be sluggish or slow. But I would say it comes from actually from corn, but that's hard to know. But a maze is like a riddle. Pretty much, if you know what a maze is, like solving a maze with the lines, you would. Let me just maze image. Let me just draw that up. These are images of a maze, and that's pretty much what a maze is. It's I would say that's the best way to look at it. Oracle. Now, if you're familiar with any mythology, Oracle is a mystical place people came for predictions. In ancient Greece, it has the Greek roots, but I don't think it's going to show that on this source. It's a good way to kind of be a little cynical with sources, but so oracle, a message from God expressed by divine inspiration through a priest or a priestess. Now, it refers to gods in the more archaic form, and not in the same sort of a Christian way we look at it now, but more of a like a paganistic sense of like the gods. A temple, a house of prayer, oracle, and directly from Latin, oraculum, a divine announcement. But it comes from the term, from the oracle of Delphi, something that can predict the future. It gives an astute answers. It seems authoritative. It's an authority. And the sentence they give in the book is, according to the Greek legend, people sought prophecy at the great oracle at Delphi. A synonym would be a prophet, a seer, a sibyl. It's just another old term. We're not going to go over that, though. We're just going to go. So it's an oracle is a mystical predictor of the future. I'm going to go over to partisan. Like, now, partisan, it's good to look at the word part, because I'm on this part. This is my part. I'm this party. And now party, we think of party like having a good time, a bunch of people together. But a party really just means a group. Okay, so verb have a good time. That's what we earlier as to take the side. So we're not looking at to have a good time. That's what from 1922. That's when that started being used. Of course, the word has been around a lot longer than the 20s. From party noun, which was a part or division. So party really means a part or division. So a party would be like, hey, let's get a group of people together, but for the purpose of having a good time. But partisan is you're from a certain part. So partisan. Partisan. Adjective. A military sense, engaged in a particular enterprise. Partisan noun. One who takes part with a zealous supporter. Zealous means gung-ho. You're really on one side. Now, you could be clouded by prejudice, adherence to a party. So when you're partisan, you're really on one side. So if it's, should we go to Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks? If I'm partisan towards the side of Dunkin' Donuts, I really don't care what you say about Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. I'm going to go towards, if I'm partisan towards Dunkin' Donuts, I'm going to go to Dunkin' Donuts no matter what you say. You're a strong supporter of a side. Upper Italian partisan, member of a faction or part. So you're on this person's side. You already have your mind made up. You're on this side. So a synonym would be a fan. Blister. What was the word they put on? Partisan? No, we can't play ball yet. A booster, yeah, a booster. So a booster means you're on this person's side. You're boosting them up. You're supporting them. On the partial, biased, you're on this one side no matter what happens. And the antonyms would be a critic, a foe, or as an adjective, impartial. Of course, let's say there's a judge in an event or a teacher, should be unpartisan. If we're having like a judge of everyone's essay and I'm saying, well, I think Siderakis, Siderakis is the name. Stamati Dimitroglu, I think he should win beforehand. I'm partisan. It wouldn't be, it wouldn't really be fair. But unbiased is the opposite. So partisan, you're on one side. And in war, it's a person, it means in a military sense, someone who fights after the war is over, like a guerrilla fighter. Like we learned how specifically, but in the war with the World War II, there were Greek partisan fighters who fought even after the official Greek army surrendered. They would be partisans. Okay. Reimburse, to pay back. Reimburse, to give payment back, to pay back. Like if I said, hey, can you buy me a bag of chips? And then I ask you how much it costs 50 cents. I give you 50 cents. I'm reimbursing you. It comes burst from the word for purse, actually. It's similar to purse. And it's to like is the word for back. And it's to pay you back, to refill your purse. Reimburse. Now let me just look up the official thing. Back. Reimburse, to pay, enrich, literally put in a purse, to repay your purse. So burst is comes from purse. It sounds similar. To refund, to repay. Reimburse. So back, rewind, review, redo, repeat, backwards doing something. You put your car in reverse, it's going backwards. And reimburse is to put back in your purse because you took it out, I took it out, or somebody takes it out of their purse, and and then the person who they got it for puts it back in their purse. Okay. Vacate. Let's go into that word. Vacate. Okay, like you notice, you've probably heard the word vacuum cleaner or vacuum is to be empty. So vacate is to make empty. Vacate. To make void, to annul, to cancel. From Latin, vacatus, past participle of vacare, to be empty or void, to make empty. From the root eu, to leave, abandon, meaning to leave. So vacate. So it's to take out, to go away from, to leave empty. You vacate a place. We all had to vacate the school, but they said, please take out your, please vacate your lockers before you vacate the building. To take out, from the word eu, Proto-Indo-European, to leave abandoned, empty, avoid, devastate, devoid, evacuate. Okay. Hypothetical. It is the hypothetical source of evidence it's from Sanskrit una, deficient, Persian vague, empty, poor, Armenian unan, and Latin vacare. So we see its roots are almost pre-European, which we're not going to get into because this is 6th grade, not college. But you know, in case you're super like me, a word nerd, then you can look into that. It comes from Sanskrit. Sanskrit being a language, possibly the first alphabetical language from India, but it basically means to empty out, vacate. And let's go to the final word, vagabond. Vagabond, a wanderer, a tramp. Okay, I don't know why it's not. Why it's blocking that, but anyway. Okay, a vagabond is a wanderer, a tramp. You can't help me. Vagabond. Vagabond. An adjective, vagabond. It's a French word, wandering, unsteady. Okay, I don't know why it still stays that way. Okay, there we go. Unsteady, wandering, unsteady. From late vagabundus, wandering, strolling about. From the Latin, from the verb vagari, to wander, undecided. Vague, it comes, okay, so we see the word vague. Vague, which basically means like uncertain, vague. So let's look vague, uncertain to specifics. So not specific, empty. So like vacate, vague, vacate, empty. Not knowing, wild, uncultivated, wandering. We see how these words kind of loosely turn into similar ideas, not exactly the same. To be empty isn't the same to not know where you're going. There's that great phrase, not all who wander are lost. But so a vagabond is one going without knowing where they're going, vagere. And it has a bit of a negative connotation. One who's without a settled home, a vagrant. Okay, so it means not knowing where you're going, but it also has the adjective of, let's say, a vagabond thought, vagabond ideas. Something like a vagabond thought would be a thought that comes out of nowhere. Like, I tell you, don't think about elephants, and you have a vagabond thought about elephants. What's the difference between African and Indian elephants? African elephants have bigger ears. You start thinking about elephants more. They have good memories. They travel around looking for water. They have matriarchal systems. You know, it's a vagabond thought. You're trying to think about vocabulary, but you have vagabond thoughts about elephants or giraffes. Where'd that thought come from? Now you think about different types of giraffes. A vagabond thought about llama. Vagabond, out of kind of wandering. Unsettled, and so the opposite would be a homebody. Someone who stays in one place. Okay, so these are the vocab words. Have a great day.